Welcome to Junaeology, and we just gonna jump right into it. Let's just talk about it, you guys. The shooting that happened in Jacksonville was done by a white guy named David Katz from Baltimore who came down to Florida and wreaked havoc on all of these people. Apparently he bought the handguns a few days before, so maybe that's what he was planning to do, whether or not he won or lost. But EA is now experiencing a lawsuit from her survivor, Jacob Middich. Check out this clip of the interview that I live streamed on Twitch with two survivors of the Madden tournament landing shooting.
I mean, we're at a gaming tournament. You know what I mean? You're gonna sit in a monitor, you're gonna focus on playing your game, showing everybody your skills. So that would be a situation where you wouldn't think you need top security, but also at the same time too, in the society that we live in, with different mass shootings or even police brutality and all these things that's going on, maybe that's something to consider. So I'm thinking this event here was just really brought awareness, and of course it's...
Okay. Missy Chan, the fan, says the news is saying he had been hospitalized for mental illness twice. Do you think that may have played a part in it? I also saw a tweet early on by Michael Martin. He's now working for Capcom. He's like a super good, I don't think he classifies himself as a journalist, but he's like a super good writer. He said this is not just about him losing. And when I first saw that, I was like, what do you mean? You know, like I thought he was going to try to pin it on mental illness. So he was like, this is not just about, you know, a game or him losing. This is about a guy who had a gun and, you know, kind of lost it. So do you think that mental illness had a part to play in this?
Honestly, any other time, if I wasn't there, I would probably say no. But seeing as that I was a witness to everything, and then we spoke with other players and things like that, and other players who had prior contact with him before any of this took place, said that he was, for lack of better words, not all the way there. So I do believe that mental health may have played a role in it, and just like you guys, both of us are just now finding out that he was hospitalized twice for mental issues. So yes, I believe that mental issues or anything that was unresolved definitely played a role in this.
I say it was 50-50. Like, it's like one of those things. Yes, he has mental illness, and we just found out about it too, that he was hospitalized for it. But also at the same time too, the way I see it is, art imitates life. So Madden is based off NFL football. Like if we were sitting in the stand, say, you know, I'm gonna use the Chicago Bears for example. So we watch the Chicago Bears play, and 9 times out of 10, if a play doesn't go right, or if we feel like the ref is making a bad call, what are we gonna do? We're gonna react, we might get upset and everything like that. So I wouldn't totally rule out that he may or may not have been upset about the game, but also too, I say it goes both ways.
I was not there, and you know, Secret actually just came in with it, and this is the same thing I was gonna say. I think anytime mental illness is racially charged, and you said you were there, he's not all the way there, you know, but this is also your first tournament. Have you been to other conventions like Anime Midwest, Wizard World, any other conventions that are like centered around anime or video games, C2E2, anything like that?
Well, last month we actually went to WakandaCon.
Oh, I was there. I didn't see you. That's okay. WakandaCon is different. Ooh, you guys about to get to a whole nother tangent. WakandaCon is different. It didn't attract your average convention goer. And what I mean by that is when you go to these anime conventions, all of those kids are always not all the way there. They're going to get upset over small things. They want to fall asleep on 2 chairs with their butt crack out and their shirt up. these are the typical con goers, you know what I'm saying? Where they're real messy and their emotional intelligence is about like of a 2-year-old. You know, I'm not being funny. This is just me going to different cons. I was just at a con this weekend and it was the same thing. You see these same kids who, you know, they want to be in an anime so bad and they want to be the main protagonist and they want things to go their way. So when it doesn't, they think the world is against them and they act out dramatically like they see in these animes and these TV shows. And so Seeker said, what mental illness though? Rage and lashing out is not a part of all of them. Folks been using that as a general catch for all toxic behavior, in her opinion. And I agree with that. I'm allowed to walk up to you and be like, Taylor, you beat me, even though I've played Madden once or twice in my entire life, and then get upset because you're better than me. You know, I think what a part of this guy's problem was, and I don't know, I can only speculate, is that he doesn't understand rejection. The case is based on negligence. It's just saying that EA had record of David Katz being out of hand with Eli Clayton and they didn't do anything about it, so there should have been like more security, more law enforcement notified, and all these other things, which are true. These things should have happened, especially if EA has record of that. 2 people who handle con security pretty well that I've been to, at least with tournaments, are Rick and Alex, people who run Combo Breaker and CEO. In May, I definitely saw a lot more police on Sunday walking around. I'm not sure if that was an immediate reaction to the guy who tapped Chris G on the shoulder while he was like up on stage. He got escorted immediately and was told that's not okay. So maybe that's why they increased security, or maybe that was the plan all along. And that made me a little bit nervous as a black person, but like as a woman, I felt a little bit better because we are at a tournament and things tend to happen. With CEO, there was a disgruntled Smash player who was like, I'm just going to shoot up the place because the community doesn't like me. Anyway, I spoke with him personally and wrote an article about it. You can read about it when you're ready. I'll post the link. And, you know, he was saying, well, the community doesn't like me anyway, but I was making a joke. And Jabali was like, that's not a joke. You can't come. You're banned, and we're increasing security, and we're telling law enforcement. And, you know, this was a guy, he outwardly made a joke, so there was an outward thing where the community recognized him and said, yeah, this guy has also always been problematic. So that was an incident where definitely having a person reported was handled better. So EA definitely could have done something in that respect and not had this whole situation be a slap in the face because you're ignoring somebody who's been reported. Moving on to the esports job workforce. VentureBeat cites Jason Lake, a Complexity CEO, on doing whatever you can to market yourself, making content like I am. You want to be a shoutcaster or a commentator, definitely start shoutcasting or commentating the games that you like and you'll have a better chance. But if you don't have the right network, all of that is in vain. Like, I'm all here for hard work, but we gotta stop lying to people that that's all they have to do. Yes, you know, having a network is gonna be great for you. If you don't, you're leaving it all to chance, and people have made it off the chance. People definitely made it off a chance, but a lot more people have not. They went on to say another thing of, I don't remember the gentleman's name, and I'm going to post the VentureBeat article as well, but he took like a 6-hour plane ride and went here and went there and like handed out his resume to everybody who was around him and got the job. I feel like it's hard for you to tell me to be at places that I can't afford to be at to try to get a job so I can afford to be at those places. How you sound right now. That doesn't make sense to me. But that was a part of him marketing himself and also creating a network. So some people have it and some people don't. Like, if you find a way to do it, cool. I was doing that, but then I also found myself in debt. So I can't do that. So I can only go to events that like I super plan for and need to be at and be able to market myself. But we need to do a better job in marketing and not, you know, gatekeeping and stuff like that within esports or even just the gaming industry. But what do I know, right? Moving on, superstar Faker, who was featured at the Asian Games, is kind of talking about the Olympics, or at least being pushed in that direction. The Olympic president, Thomas Bach, was not impressed by the Asian Games featuring esports in this year's competition. He still does not want to promote violence or discrimination, which I also wrote an article about that, and I'll be happy to share it with you. It's interesting. A lot of esports definitely promote like violence or the discrimination part. I'm not sure. When I think of discrimination, I think of them not having enough like black people in the lead, or like in the character select, or not having enough women or something like that in character select. So discrimination, I'm gonna have to think about that. Besides CS:GO, where they're hunting down terrorists and stuff like that, I shouldn't do that. Where they're hunting down terrorists. A lot of esports do that, and it's just interesting to see if he thinks League of Legends is violent, which you definitely are attacking and cutting down someone else, but I didn't consider that violent. It's the same way where the rating of stuff, where with Halo, they won't rate it fully. Is it Halo? There's a game that they won't rate M17 because you're only killing aliens. So it's just interesting to see what he thinks is violent and what he thinks is appropriate, because he won a gold medal for fencing a few years, like in the 90s. It was a way back when he received a medal in fencing, and you're poking people with swords. So I don't know what he considers to be violent and not violent. I definitely think that, you know, maybe Fortnite isn't the best, because I understand with the guns and the shooting. CS:GO, no. Call of Duty, no. But you can't equivalate like League of Legends to that. Like, that wouldn't make sense to me. But then that's a good place for the FGC, but that's another violence. You definitely shouldn't put Smash up there just because of the community. But I'm really interested to see what he, like, I need him to name games where he's like, this is violent, we're not doing this, they're shooting, they're doing this, they're doing that. Maybe he'll like something more like Absolver, if that ever will become like an esports or something like that. Scum. Man, Scum almost had me. I almost bought Scum. I gotta think twice. I still gotta think twice about getting it, because do I want to support people who are saying it's okay to put Nazi symbols in a game as a tattoo? Yes, it was a prisoner, but it wasn't for lore. So people are trying to compare like Wolfenstein or like Mafia 3 or Far Cry to Scum and them using these tattoos, but that doesn't make sense to me, because in all those other 3 games, they made it a part of the lore. Racism was like the undertone or the blaring on top tone for those games. Now with Scum, yeah, you're outlaws, you're dealing with this, you're dealing with that, and it is a tattoo. And if there are other tattoos as well, which I'm not sure what the equivalent to a Nazi tattoo is, that they're gonna come out with, maybe they should have came out with the other one so people could be like, well, they're in prisoner, so yeah, someone has like a Joker tattoo or they have this tattoo. It would just be really interesting to see someone else do like a tattoo of like Black Power or something, and see if people still get upset, you know. And I just want to see how people are responding to it differently, because we know people are going to respond differently when it's like, oh, it's white power and it says white supremacy. It's a joke, it's a texture, it's a joke. And then if you put Black Power, they're gonna be like, no, that's too far, they're gonna try to push their BLM motives on us, and we don't need to see that type of hate. It would just be interesting to me to see, you know, what's what. But Scum and the community manager, I've been applying for jobs for community manager. I ain't never did nothing that OC. Y'all gotta think twice about these people who fit your culture. And maybe it was different. I was reading something about like the Croatian team. Maybe they don't think it's like that big of a deal. I don't know how like a hate for Nazis isn't a worldwide thing when it affected the world. So it's called World War II. Just very interesting. Very, very interesting. That's all I have for you this week. Definitely tune in next week. We're going to definitely try to drop each episode on a Saturday. And huge shout out to the editor, Lance. Definitely go check him out. His info is going to be in the description. And don't forget to follow me, subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, all of that good stuff. And check out my articles at theblackgirlgamers.com.